we need you. And bless, again, we pray this time. In the blessed name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we ask for your honor and glory. Amen. Well, I just finished reading Job this morning. And I thought, well, I'm referencing this creature tonight. So what time? What timing? Job chapter 40 and verse 15. God said to Job, behold, which means to look at. Now means now. And I'll say it. How does it say? Suppose we said, Dad? Bohemoth. And we would say behemoth, but the ancient Hebrew, behemoth, which I made with thee. We were with a pastor in Indiana. No, yeah, brother, can't remember his name right now. Been some years. Terre Haute, Indiana. Is this, do you have the sound system on, brother? Okay. Is this too much of a bother of you all? It's a little bit of a feedback. And he'd been in ministry for many years. And I will just, this is bothering me. He'd been in ministry for many years, and we had our banner, our dynamite banner up, and it has a portion of this verse, behold now behemoth, which I made with thee. And 2 or 3 times during the week, this pastor had been in the ministry, I don't know how many years. They used to have a Christian school, and the church had dwindled and such. And he was just amazed at that verse and confirmation that dinosaurs and man had lived at the same time. And if you will, he would use a word we use, he raved about it. A number of times during the week, Sunday through Wednesday meeting. And that was an encouragement to me, because pastors need encouragement. And to connect the dots sometimes too, as we all do. And so it begins to describe his tail. Verse 17, he moveth his tail like a cedar. And they want to say it was an elephant. Well, an elephant doesn't move his tail like a tree. Hippo is the other one. And does a hippo have a tail like a tree? That it moves? No. So the swaying, and they used to have these creatures dragging their tails along. But then, I don't know what year it was that they saw the balancing aspect, if you will, the long neck and the long tail. So they have the creature with the tail up, like parallel. You've probably seen that depicted in Jurassic Park or something. So, according to the Bible, Job could look over and see this creature. And it didn't live millions of years ago. It lived at the same time as man, and particularly Job. But I got this slide first because of, well, tonight we didn't widespread the word because of the virus and everything. But God hath not given us a spirit of fear. So we don't even have to be afraid of a virus, do we? If our trust is in the Lord. And power, love, and a sound mind. So our theme of dinosaurs, dynamite, is coming up this summer. So we ask for your prayers that we would have meetings, first of all. That they won't be afraid. Of course, children and germs, you know how that goes. Every elementary school teacher knows about children and germs. Cleaning everything, yes. But I use a lot, Job 40, 15 through 17. And, of course, with our jungle theme, we do say the best for last, and that's tonight as well, with these creatures, the sauropods, in particular, reportedly alive in the Congo of Africa. Now, I have to say reportedly, because I've never been there. And so these accounts from a book We don't have it on display right now, but it's written by an evolutionist. It's called A Living Dinosaur, ? And the name Mokele Mbembe. And we're going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to show a video clip from a TV program called Monster Quest. Now, I don't know what's all in Monster Quest series. I don't even know if it's still going or not. But have y'all heard, anybody heard if it's still Monster Quest series? Does it still go?
I don't know. Probably is.
Because I've not seen it in a long time, but these clips, you can just download it from YouTube, an excerpt. So I've got a clip for us tonight. And you will see how they have the natives of the Congo kind of scraping out on the ground with a stick. A description of this creature. Long neck and a long tail. The researchers depicted in the video a brief clip, but they're showing them drawings or depictions of different types of creatures, including sauropod dinosaurs. And the people will point out what they have seen alive, deep in the jungle. And let's say 7 C's of all history: creation, corruption, catastrophe, confusion, Christ, cross, and consummation, when God's going to make all things new. And it starts with Him making everything. So why teach about this subject? A lot of people want to think, well, that's just a sideline issue, or it's just an issue for kids. But I put before you tonight, it is not an issue just for kids. It is a great tool for kids of all ages, including us big kids that minister to little kids throughout summers. But Satan is using them like a Trojan horse. And the Trojan horse, if you remember, coming into the city, and out comes the enemy from the Trojan horse inside the city. And in many ways, Brother Parker, with our young people that come in our churches, they've already been reached with evolutionary lies through dinosaurs, like Trojan horse. And they grow up not getting answers many times in churches, and they end up being confused about dinosaurs, where they fit in history. Have they lived with men? And such. And I dare say that pastor I was referencing had gone for many years with some question marks in his mind. And that banner with the verse standing there all week for him to see, and not just him, others. He just had opportunity to express it and help encourage others during that week, and thereby being an encouragement to us just from a banner, a simple banner standing up, helping answer their questions, helping alleviate confusion about dinosaurs and where they fit. So they are excellent tools that God has. He created them, and yea, all of His creation proclaims His glory, proclaims His existence. The heavens declare His glory. But in particular with Jurassic movie series and Dinosaur Train is the name of the cartoon. How many have heard of Dinosaur Train? It is a dangerous cartoon for kids. So they're excellent tools. The devil knows they're excellent tools. So why don't we take them and use them for Jesus? Just like with Job, God said, "Behold now behemoth. And so God should get the glory for making dinosaurs. Is He getting glory on Animal Planet? Did they mention Him making them? Is He getting glory on Discovery Channel? No. PBS Channel? Jurassic World series? No. So who is tasked with giving Him glory for what He has made? Including us. We are. We are. And so that's why tonight, Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for Thou hast created dinosaurs. All things, which includes dinosaurs. And for Thy pleasure they are and were created. So it's very intriguing. The biggest, most powerful evidence that would go against millions of years would be a living, breathing creature. So if they say they died out millions of years ago, but they're alive today, that would be the biggest question mark to the evolutionist. One who's been, wait a minute, I thought they died out. You mean they're alive today? No. And that's when we hand out our card, our Jurassic World card with the soft tissue in this one, as well as the pterosaurs. You get looks of incredulity, if that's a word. Incredulous. No, or. So I'm going to play for you a clip from the Monster Quest. I hope it's plugged in all right and everything. Nope. It is plugged in. Uh-huh. I did not know I needed to change this. Okay, let's see if that works.
It's a monster that's terrified the masses.
This animal can hurt everything on in the river.
This massive creature is said to be twice the size of an elephant.
They talk about an animal between 30 to 70 feet in length.
With long, thin neck, the bulbous body, or the heavy tail, the elephant-like legs.
An animal thought to have been extinct for centuries.
In fact, I think I'd feel safer in Jurassic Park.
Now, Monster Quest travels to the wildest continent, Africa, searching for the last living dinosaur. The territorial amphibious creature lives in the rivers here and has been known to attack humans.
The tradition of the pygmies especially is that if anyone sees a Riparian dingo and then reports or talks about it, he will surely die.
Dr. Roy Macko met many locals during his search for the creature. They warned him of the dangers of his quest, and that should he encounter difficulties, they would not be able to help him.
You go right ahead, but remember, we will not even send up a body bag to bring you back.
They have long passed on the legends of these frightening and mysterious creatures that prowl the water's edge.
He was eating leaves, and the branches were falling in the water when he was eating them.
Randy Norbert was fishing one night on the Jar River when he saw the creature. Even in dark, he could tell this was not an elephant or rhino.
With something like spines on his back, long neck, long tail. It's difficult to tell how big the animal was. It was dark, and the neck was so long that I was afraid, and I just ran.
Norbert turned his boat around and left the area. He was scared for his life.
This animal has a reputation of breaking canoes, and he kills people.
It's a intriguing program to watch. And again, it's available on YouTube, and that's where I downloaded this to get an excerpt. But if you watch the whole thing, of course, they don't talk about creation at all. In fact, they say it's amazing how this creature could be alive after millions of years, something like that. But they do interview a fella and show where he tells of where a particular place on a riverbank where all the foliage was gone, like 18 feet up. So it's pretty intriguing. But the great subject, pterosaurs, soft tissue, or just dinosaurs alive up until recent times and things, is the realm of cryptozoology. And the word meaning the study of hidden living things. Zoo, how many of you know what a zoo is? That's from the Greek word zoon, living thing. Any word with ology on the end of it, that is from the Greek as well. Logos, ology. You see log in the ology part, so that's We also have the English word logic. So many variations, Dad can tell you, from the word logos. In the beginning was the Word. That's logos. And that's referring to Jesus, the expression, if you will, of God. So crypto is also from the Greek. A lot of our words come from ancient languages. So when you study these things out, it's very eye-opening. But the Greek word kryptos is hidden. That's the first part of the word. So cryptozoology, the study of hidden living things. So here's a picture of, well, it's a map of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And our friend Cam Badibu, that you're going to hear from by way of video. I wanted him to come in person, but virus prohibiting. Hopefully we'll get to interview him one-on-one before the summer. But he's from this area called Kasai. He'll reference that in the video. But I think of what we saw at y'all's house in Virginia one time, and I actually got a still shot with the camera, but it wasn't very good. I'm trying to take a picture of a TV screen, and it's moving, so it's kind of fuzzy. But I think this is an alligator gar fish. This is how would you like to get this on your hook? I don't think anybody would want to go noodling and get this fish on their arm. They might not have an arm left. It might just gone. Anyway, but there was a question put to Jeremy Wade. He told of this question one time that stood out in my mind, and he mentioned how that someone had asked him what's the worst or the most difficult place he's ever been exploring. And you'd think Timbuktu, somewhere in the world. You know what he said? Georgia. Swamps of Georgia. Where I've never been to swamps in Georgia, but that's what he said. You wouldn't think right here in America, as much as the season, I think last 9 seasons, I believe, what I read yesterday or maybe today. But been around the world with river monster fishing and things. But the term cryptozoology is applied to creatures that are unknown to science, creatures thought to be extinct, creatures once thought to have been extinct, and have been found alive, like the ropin or okapi, thought to be extinct, but was found alive in the Congo of Africa. And our friend Cam, anybody met Cam before? Y'all have met Cam. We had him at the conference in Statesville for this presentation. And he mentions the okapi. And he says it a little differently, though. It's okapi. He has a little bit of an accent. Of course, we have an accent. We just don't know it, right? Southern. We'll have one of my favorite presentations this summer called Dealing with the Dragon. And soft tissue has been found. We have a card on that. We have a new card that we're making up for this summer called Mum's the Word. As in, they want to keep it quiet. And what that is, there's almost an entire body of a dinosaur, complete with insides, not fossilized, that was found in Canada. And the researchers on the video, the secular, totally secular researchers, secular website, etc., it says it might have walked, they say it looked like it might have walked around a couple of weeks ago. Now, how could that be a lot? How could it be millions of years old? No way. This is perhaps the main column, the only column that evolution rests upon, and that's the millions of years. So that's part of in the Dealing with the Dragon. So Mokele Mbembe, M-O-K-E-L-E, supposed to be a hyphen there, I think. At least it's two-worded. M-B-E-M-B-E. I won't have anybody try to say it, but Cam says it much more quickly. And like Mokimimbi, something like, I can't even say it like he said it. But this is a picture of the book that we have, A Living Dinosaur, ? In Search of Mokele Mbembe. It's about that thick. And I was about to tell you earlier, I'll tell you now how this began. First, with this book. And we heard a creation speaker speak about it. And so I ended up getting the book for my own, or maybe I borrowed it from Dad. I don't know, maybe you got it first. I don't know. I borrowed a book from you one time. Maybe that was on the sea ones.
I think that was the Loch Ness one.
Loch Ness one. Same author.
Still by Mac.
Same author, by Roy Mackal. You saw him, you saw Roy Mackal, the elderly, bald fella, talking about the body bag. He's been over there, and this book recounts at least two of those times. I think maybe 3 in total that he went. And so you see him there on the right. This was the first team, just 3 of them. More of a survey trip. It's a more updated picture of him. I mean, not present. You saw in the video, the most recent video. I don't know if he's still living or not. But the entourage there is their second trip, recounted in the book. And they go around to different villages and compare notes of what they report of not just this creature, but other creatures we'll tell you about. And when we were at a church in Swannanoa, Calvary Free Will Baptist Church. Now it's interesting how we got to go to a Free Will Baptist Church. The pastor and I had a few conversations, shall we say, beforehand. And he, wanting me to come, he said, well, we've had evangelist so-and-so, and while some, Free Will Baptists believe you can lose your salvation, and others, whatever, that we talked about, he said, well, I don't believe that. So I ended up going based upon his telling me different things. So it was a process. We didn't just drop in on that church, So it was very interesting how we got there, and I think it was of the Lord for us to meet Cam. That was a weekend meeting in the fall, and so I think it was kind of to take the place of like a Halloween equivalent. Was it? Okay. So we had a Friday evening session using our jungle theme, and it was amazing that was the year of our jungle theme too, where I was talking about the Congo of Africa. And then a men's breakfast Saturday morning, and in a 4-hour time for the kids. I don't know what we were thinking. 4 hours. Saturday afternoon, boy, was that tiring. And then Sunday morning and Sunday night sessions, and 2 special sessions that Sunday evening. And so having met Cam at the men's breakfast Saturday morning, and he's very dark-skinned, learned that he was from the Congo. It hadn't hit me yet, Pastor, until Sunday evening while I was speaking, using information from this book. It connected. It clicked. There sat Cam Badibu, and he's from the Congo, and here I'm speaking about the Congo from a book. And I thought, well, I need to speak to Cam. I need to ask him. He's an eyewitness, from there type of person. And so as I shared these things from the book, most everything was accurate because I said, Cam is, and I would ask him, I think more than once, is this true? And he would nod his head, yes. So one of the places there is called the Lickawalla Swamp. I've been told it's the size of the state of Georgia. Huge swamp. And as I read this book by Roy Mackal, it was very detailed. And before reading the book, I thought, well, maybe I could be a part of a team, a group of creationists to go over there exploring and looking for Mokele Mbembe. And then the more I saw what they went through and the dangers that existed, terrain like this, Let somebody else do that.
Now, are you familiar with...
Now, this is me interviewing Cam. Now, the video is not... I want to get a good video. I've had to edit the audio to try to bring it... The lighting and everything will have to be brought up to speed. But you get the idea of what he tells. He tells of these creatures, not just Mokele Mbembe, but other creatures alive in the Congo. Now, I've spliced a couple of interviews together. The second one's better than the first.
Now, are you familiar with Mbielo?
Yes, I'm familiar with Mbielo. Back at home, in my youngest day, when I was about 5, 6, growing on that, my great-grandma and great-grandpa will take us and tell us stories about, the living animals and the living fishes, and just, story about the jungles. And they would call creature like Mbielu. They would call creature like Ngulu, being the cousin of the animal that we did see in the presentation. And they would tell us that, someday in your life you might see these creatures. They have stone-looking things in their bodies. And if you happen to see it, just don't run away and don't get closer to them, because they might hurt you. I'm familiar with Mokele Mbembe. I have not seen it myself, Mokele Mbembe, but my great-great-grandparent had heard it and seen it in Congo. I'm from Kasai. I happen to say that Mokele Mbembe in the world, because that thing is so big, the thing is the world. That's Mokele in Lingala.
But Muhammad, now you said last time you had seen Muhammad.
Yeah, I seen Muhammad. I was telling Pastor up there at outside. That thing is huge, like from the room that we're outside, that big. And at one point of time, I think they had sent a team of showing from National Geography to catch it. And they actually did catch it. But overnight, they escaped because they were not prepared with the material they had to really catch it, contain it, and bring it back to the States.
It's very interesting hearing him tell how this huge crocodile, I say huge, 50 feet long. You know how wide this auditorium is, brother? 50 feet long. That boggles the mind, doesn't it? But he said he's seen Muhammad. I mean, that brings to mind the size of the dinosaurs, doesn't it? Huge. But it got out of the cage. It got away from them. And you can tell with the audio and everything, I was wearing the mic in that setting right there. So I've tried to bring up the sound, but it's not good enough with his accent. So I'm trying to get a time where we can go to Swannanoa, where they live, and just sit down one-on-one. That's the best, where I can get a one-on-one with microphone system that I did not have at the time. So pray that we can do that before this summer. But different pictures from the book. One account from point A to point B, they had failed to take into account when they went one way, the water level was up due to the rainy season. So they had calculated so much time to come back that way, or back the same way, I think, from one village to another. And if I remember correctly, well, I do remember this, where it was after the water was going down. And so what did they encounter then that they floated over on the way? Logs, debris or whatever, that it was slowing them down because they had to either chop through with machetes or heave-ho over, something like that. And so they were running out of battery power in their flashlights. And it was getting dark in the jungle with foliage all over you, over top and everything, and snakes and, It was about then I began to think, maybe we'll let someone else go over and I'll I'll get their word of what they experienced. Because you might not, you get malaria or something, you might not make it back. They might have to bury you in the dark water. But here's a picture in the book of a place where the natives had told the crew where they had seen Mokele Mbembe for a period of weeks. And apparently they can dig tunnels. The Mahamba do that as well, I guess for a certain time of year to kind of hibernate in those tunnels. And so the lair of a Mokele Mbembe on the right-hand bank facing upstream. In Mackle's book, he said this: no living specimen have ever existed in any zoo, yet most Westerners, that's us, can easily conjure up images of the fearsome creatures we call dinosaurs. Fearsome or strange, ancient, mighty, yet our conception of them is built on fossils. Up until that nodosaur was found in Canada with the innards, all we had was bones. So you have to do a lot of constructive imagination to put the rest, and to make it move, and to make it come alive and eat people in Jurassic Park.
And what sounds they make.
Yeah, the sounds they make, the color of skin. And you can take reptiles like gators and, make good guesses, if you will, but still, we don't see those creatures. Some lizards have quite colorful skin. You ever seen a skink and it's shimmery? Yes, so they may have been pink and purple. We don't know.